Welcome back to the design studio. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make the base for a flower wall, like the wall behind me. So the back of our wall is a trellis. We can get these in either 2-foot wide sections by 8 feet tall or 4-foot wide sections by 8 feet tall. Today I'm using the 2x8. This is going to give us the bones of what our wall is going to be. Also, we will be using weed blocker. In the landscaping section of your local Home Depot or Lowe's, you can get the weed blocker. This is going to shadow it out. So let me show you how we do this. Lay your weed blocker down. Give it about 6 inches longer than what the trellis is going to be, because we're going to staple this to the actual trellis. The reason I use the trellis for the wall is it's easy to grab a hold of, it's lightweight, and it's durable. There is some give. You can put a wood brace around all the sides to kind of stop it from moving. We don't, because when we utilize this, we put our pipe and drape system up, and that's what secures the trellis. We've also seen it done where it's outside and banisters or tenting poles. You zip tie this back portion to the poles, and that's what keeps it stable. So put this down, grab your staple gun, and just fold over the weed blocker. And you're just going to staple this down. The only time we would actually cover the entire back would be as if it was exposed. Most of the time, the back of this is against a wall, so you're not going to ever see the back. And you want the back again so you have something to grip a hold of when you're moving it. And just go through and staple it in. When you get the trellises, there's no reason to get them painted, or don't get the vinyl ones. We've seen the vinyl ones. You're not going to get your staple gun to really work well on the vinyl. And just staple this in to complete it. So that's what the front's going to be. The nice thing about the weed blocker is it's a fabric that you're going to be able to stick wires through to secure the trellis to a wall or your pipe and drape system, and it's pretty forgivable. It's not, doesn't tear and rip really far. It's a nice sturdy fabric. And this is the back. As you can see, we still have the space to grab a hold and move it, to use the space to wire and to put cages on, and we'll get to that in a moment. So that is the front. Next, we have some pieces of boxwood panels. It's pretty great. These are coming in many different kind of foliages, greens. We do the basic boxwood, but I want to point out the back. I've seen it where it was a complete mesh. We don't like that one to work with as well, because you really can't get stuff into it. You can't get wires in, it's a little bit more difficult. This is a nice grid pattern, so there's a lot of negative space within, and it's also good if you need to cut it. You have a great line to follow. So, and these come in 2x2 squares. Again, I got it at the local wholesale market. So what you're going to want to do is get it right to the side and to the top, and just take your gun and go ahead and staple this on to the trellis. And you're going to want to give it as many staples as you want. I guess it depends on where you're using it. And you're going to go down and around. And line it up. I make sure the seams are pretty tight, because I really don't want you to be able to see the seam. I want it to be a visual moment for us. So go ahead. And these are great rental pieces. We rent these out quite a bit for backdrops, for head tables, or ceremonies, or just to cover something that they might not want to see. It's a little unsightly. So these are become a really great rental for us. And just go ahead. When you're on site, be sure to bring your staple gun because lo and behold, some of the staples may pop or loosen during transit. So that way you can just pop it back in. And the final piece. Because I'm pushing these pretty close up to each other and at the edge, you're going to have some space that's not covered. And that's when you're going to cut some pieces and just put it in. So you could see, I don't know if you could see, like this part here is still not covered. So I'm going to take a portion of it that I've already pre-cut. I've pre-cut this, and you notice again, like with the grids, that made a real clean cut. And this will go right at the either bottom or top, depending on how you work with it. And the side here, because we went really super tight, we have a little bit of a gap here. So again, I just pre-cut some strands from it, and I am just going to push it in and staple it on. This is truthfully a great way to start your flower walls for your events. Keep them displayed in your studio space or in your store. Use them as a backdrop. Let people know that you actually do have these and the different ideas you can do. They're not going to go anywhere. Everybody is going to always want a beautiful backdrop for their event. We've done them for corporate events. And we put logos in the center of them and created a step and repeat with flowers around them. So many opportunities. And as you could see, it's a relatively quick install. You know, to build this, it's relatively easy and quick. It's having all of your pieces ready for you. I will say the nice thing about using the solid boxwood like this is if a piece of the center falls out, you could easily just pop another piece to match in. I've had some issues with mixed foliage pieces that what happened was when a piece fell out, you could see the pattern, so when you put something in that didn't match exactly right, it was obvious. So this is the wall. Pretty simple start to your flower wall. A couple of things I want to tell you. The nice thing about using the boxwood as well is that it holds water tubes exceptionally. So you could stick a water tube in here with a flower and the boxwood itself becomes a brace for that. It holds on to that so it won't slip out. Also, if you're going to use cages on it, you could put your cage on it when it's standing vertical and wire right through the cage through the back of the trellis. Once the cages are on though, take a tarp, a painter's tarp that you can get at the Home Depot or Lowe's, put it underneath the cage and drape the whole front of your boxwood wall. The reason being is when you're inserting flowers into this and the water starts dripping, at least it's not dripping into your boxwood and it's running right down the front of your plastic. And then once it's done, you just pull the plastic out and you have beautiful floral and your boxwood still looks perfect. So this is the base wall that we used for the walls that we have behind me. So if you like what we did, please subscribe and like below, and we will see you next time.